Okay, so I'm sitting here with AGE, Flashmetroid, Fanatiq, ChrisG. Just going to give you guys a couple questions and just, feel free to chime in, any of you. So there's a lot of sponsors out there. There's a lot of competition right now. How does AGE really stack up to all the competition?
We're the best.
You're the best?
Absolutely.
Absolutely?
I mean, we've challenged, other teams to,
Yeah.
Matches in multiple games. I'm not going to name any of them, but we've challenged pretty much every team out there.
Sure. Without naming any, how do you guys, you're the best, but how do you guys, stand up, you know what I mean? And not just as competitors, but as, a business as well. How do you guys stand up to the rest of them?
Oh, man. We're the best.
Best? That's all I hear.
PDP is, it's a really big company.
Yeah.
Even outside of their presence in the FGC, which that's something more done for the community than it is for, that's just part of, because our player manager is part of
they
the
don't
community.
rely on the FGC for a source of income.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, something like E3, we were actually involved in it.
Yeah.
PDP AG was involved in E3, as compared to all the other groups out there, like EG. Were they there? I'm not sure.
No, they weren't. But I wouldn't name
I'm
drop it.
just saying.
Yeah.
Like Complexity, I don't think they were there either.
Yeah.
I'm not blowing anybody.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
I'm just saying, because AG has products to offer to people.
Yeah.
And they have a certain lifestyle that, we'd like to rock.
Yeah. That actually answered my second question, which was, how do you guys affect outside of the, FGC?
Yeah.
Glow.
You glow.
Yeah, we emanate. I love that response. But we have a humongous presence outside.
Yeah.
Before we were ever, before there was even an Afterglow elite team,
Yeah.
PDP was still really huge.
They're at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And
That's
Best
pretty
Buy.
huge. And Best Buy. I used to work there. It's
Toys R Us, GameStop. Literally,
Yeah.
you can. Our product is in almost every electronics thing in the world. Of course, you can always save more money instead of going to GameStop or all those places by going directly to the website and using the promo code AGE.
As soon as you said it,
That's a shameless plug.
I wanted to get in, but I let you rock.
So a couple personal questions. So, Fanatiq, I watched your post-game interview with Filipino Champ last night. Something about Fanatiq not being around anymore, something more about focusing, on yourself and really on the game. What's that about,
Well,
are you trying to be soft in the community or?
Ooh.
I don't know about. I'm not trying to. I don't think I'm definitely trying to be soft. No, that's me.
He said something near that. I'll tell you that much.
Who said this?
Champ said something near that from what I know.
Yeah, ultimately, I think focusing on being sponsored and getting older and trying to make money and things from the game.
Yep.
Sometimes you lose sight of what the original goal was. And my original goal before any of that was even possible, before I dreamed about competing in that level, was just I wanted to be better. I wanted to eventually be the best. And so I think sometimes focusing on, I think players should get more money, or maybe someone's not making enough money, or something, this company should be involved, and all those things can detract from just the competition. And that's what I think the fighting game community is about. And I think I lost sight of that for a while. And I think this tournament kind of brought it home, like losing again. And I felt like I practiced. Flashmetroid really helped me prepare for this match with CJ.
You got out of here a week early.
Yeah. And I stayed at his house and we played. And he's the one that was helping me with the Virgil matchup and the Doom matchup. And so, after doing that, and to lose this tournament, it actually affected me to where I felt like I don't want to lose again.
So you kind of want to bring the community back to the taboo era, kind of like not necessarily the couch era, but where it's more homegrown. It's less, it's not about the money. It's not about the business and selling out and stuff.
Competition.
It's good. So ChrisG, you take a lot of tournaments, man. You're kind of what people consider the villain from what I know from around the community. How's that affect your game? Or do you just tune out all the haters?
It works.
It works?
It works for me. Actually, I'm very surprised how people were cheering for me.
Oh, yeah.
I was really surprised. They said, "Thank you, ChrisG." They just started chanting.
That's because...
Just because they didn't want a certain character to win.
Yeah.
Now...
But if you were playing Morgan...
Yeah, now going back to Morgan, it's like... That's exactly what they're doing. They're chanting for anybody else.
But for him, it was double because people don't like him either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I turned to my buddy and I was like, so now you're cool with ChrisG, because he's not playing Scorpion, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of what everyone wants to see. They want to see that, that that underdog kind of, even if it's balanced to that underdog, take the victory, even though you're not the underdog, you're ChrisG. So Flash, I talked to you a little bit earlier, 2 days ago, and I think this question is really directed at you. What would you do to fix the FGC, or what do you think could be done right now to fix the FGC? Or if it's not broken, it doesn't need fixing, but what do you think could enhance it, if nothing else?
The FGC?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
What's your focus then, man? What do you like?
I mean, I don't really focus on the FGC that much anymore, Yeah, FGC is just, I don't know.
It's just what it is?
Yeah, FGC is just FGC. The leaders aren't really doing what they should be doing, and that's about it. Like, you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, you're not trying to say too much, I understand.
Yeah.
Of course. No, I get you. What about you, Fanatiq? I mean, you got some opinions about the FGC. I know you do.
Jesus, they fixed the FGC it's a kind of heavy term because I still love the FGC. It's kind of helped shape me in some ways as a person, just because it's the communities where I learned a lot of social development and things like that. I do think that the players can be considered a little bit more, but that's more of an individual basis. A lot of times the FGC is what you make out of it, and so I think players have to recognize what their worth is and push for their goals.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's beyond results. But if you're not getting the results yet, then that should be your focus. Like I think winning should be the first priority. And I think ChrisG is kind of an inspiration in that regard. Just seeing him, he goes after his results. And whereas I've always gone after other things, just to see that passion and things like that, it's kind of invigorated me to make me want to compete even more. And then even being around Flashmetroid, finally being. When I was at his house and seeing, he was showing me his notes that he had for his character, and that's like a level of dedication that I've never had. I mean, I'm serious about the games, but if you see, like, maybe one of these days I'll try to convince him to let people see it. Like it's insane, like just the amount of text data he has on characters. You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff is like, I can't be mad if I'm not getting results if I'm not putting in those kind of efforts like that. And so I think. I think that's one way to repair almost to improve the community is just players and everyone getting better and improving their skill
and raising the bar
and making people take us more seriously.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the FGC specifically. It's what I love about it. It's like it's really about you and how much dedication you put in, how much practice you put in. There's no variables. I know you've been playing a lot of League lately, and I'm glad you talked about taking a break from that. That there's too many variables in that for you to really handle some of the outcomes. I mean, you can do your best, but a lot of times,
it's not good enough.
It's not good enough. But in the fighting game community, it's a one-on-one aspect. So, it's thrown out. It's as raw as it can be, and that's why it's kind of like wrestling as well. And that's really good. That would strengthen the community if they understand that.
Isn't real.
There you go. It'd be neither video games. But that's one thing that I do believe would repair it as well, is if people would take it more seriously and see the passion and that drive. And it's unfortunate that they do see you, ChrisG, as a villain, because you could really, be an inspiration to people, like Fanatiq said, with that drive and for that win specifically, which a lot of people kind of lose sight of. We all have various reasons to be in the FGC and do what we do, but the win should be the primary focus. So I asked you this the other day. New consoles are coming out. I know AGE is never going to stop, obviously. Are you guys going to be competing with the new consoles, with the new games, Killer Instinct, or maybe a new Capcom game coming out? Or will you guys or is it all up in the air right now?
I want to play the new Guilty Gear.
Okay.
It's big, but the community might not play it. So
Because I'm gonna bother you.
And if the community doesn't play it, there's no reason to play it. You're never gonna beat me. But,
that's why I dropped Cross Tekken really early on before the 2013 version update, because the community just wasn't doing it. And they also did it wrong by making you do teams, and people didn't want to do that. They thought it would create tension between the teammates, and it'd be all sensational, and it just wasn't, so they dropped it from the circuits.
Right. I thought it was.
But so what would you do to help Guilty Gear get into the spotlight? Would you start pumping out media for it, or?
If I could jump in really quick.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a problem with some of the other communities is that if there's a really severely dominant person, that those communities kind of drop those games. For instance, with Guilty Gear, for I don't know how long, Flash was like undefeatable. You know what I mean? And he was like dominating that scene. And so instead of people saying, I want to get better and beat him, they would say, I don't want to play the game anymore. And that's, I mean, there's nothing that can be done about that.
Not to put anybody on spot, but do you think that's kind of happening with ChrisG right now in Marvel? People are kind of, taken back by the fact that he did come up with this. It ain't easy. It's not easy. People think it is, but it ain't easy. So you think that, Marvel might be having that kind of syndrome as well because, you got this guy who goes out and plays hard, and instead of being an inspiration, people just hate on it. You know what I mean?
He's bringing SF4 back.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Chris, you've spoken about that before too, because you said at one point you were like raping in schoolgirls. Forget the expression. And
That's fine.
Yeah, and you were dominating in schoolgirls, and you said people just stopped entering.
No, I went to a tournament once, and they had enough people to run a tournament. I think it was like probably like a good 10, 11, 12. Usually for a small event, like you still run the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I don't want to enter anymore. I'm like, you guys serious? Like,
How you going to get good if you're going to face, competition?
because first of all, right, since I'm a Capcom player, they don't really like us winning.
Yeah.
That's to start off, right?
Yeah.
So after I started winning, they tried to fight it. Oh, he's not that good. Let's go get him. And then PAL, I kept winning. They were like, all right, I guess we accept our fate.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. Like, I would never accept losing.
No, of course.
Especially if I kept losing, I'd be like, there's something wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, you weren't always this, you weren't always winning. I remember seeing you before you started running this team and everything. You weren't always winning. You were winning a majority of the time, but you weren't always winning. So, you worked hard to get that win. It didn't...
I used to go to Chinatown Fair and see Justin, and he'd body me in any game, anything he touched, and I touch at the same time.
Yeah.
My hands fell off. That's it. Finished. I played in a few tournaments free. Like, I wouldn't even get a game.
Yeah.
That's it. And like after a while, like at some point, people need to realize that it's not the person, it's not the player, it's themselves that like they need to realize that they're not good enough, and they need to accept that they're not good enough.
Of course.
But people, when I would win in Marvel 3, everyone's just like, oh, Chris, he's not that good. Blah, 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 blah. He still sucks. Or he just, at one point, people thought that Ryu was top tier in vanilla.
Yeah.
And I used to get into arguments, and I'm like, wait, you're telling me he's only makes up his overhead X Factor? And that's it. That was the only way you could combo. So I used to get into arguments with people, and they really believed that what I was doing with these garbage characters was broken.
Yeah. And that,
I'm like, all right, well, at some point, if you're using DHC glitches and stuff like that, you need to realize that you're just not that good.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel you.
I would accept it.
I look at it like it's prophetic in a sense where you look at it like you can't fill your cup unless it's empty first. And what's the use of a cup unless it's empty? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you can't fill it. Yeah. You can go through your house and fill every cup in your cabinet, but what are you going to do when you're thirsty? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got to empty your cup regardless. So this has been a great interview, guys. I thank you for your time. It's great. I mean, one last question. All of you guys have been out here in Orlando. You live here. You live in Miami. So, coming out to CEO, strengthening the community, whether you win or not, the intangible, it's worth it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's worth it. That's the message that we kind of want to spread out, is that it's worth it, we run the company Inconspicuous Gaming, and it's about the people like all of us who weren't signed or didn't have a sponsor at one point, but just didn't get the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to give people in a small town like Vero an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're out here, for the intangible, and if AGE and the entire core group, respects that and understands that as well, that's really going to push this community forward.
Oh, also, I want to add something real quick. I think also one of the main problems in the FGC is everyone wants a sponsor.
Yeah.
Like it's like your main goal to be.
Everybody wants the fame.
No. You know how many people like we have conversations with and be like, yo, I wish I could. You guys are so lucky. I would love to be paid to travel, and it's like it's not like that. Like we earned our worth. Like just because you can make a few top 16s or top 32s. Like doesn't give you the right to be above other people.
Correct.
Like when we started off, I'm pretty sure we all had to pay out of our pockets.
Oh yeah. Even
when I was EMP, like I went, when I was LB, all of them, like I paid most of my way to go to Evo, mm-hmm. All the main tournaments in Jersey and Philly. Like you have to get on the grind. Yeah. People just like, can you talk to your sponsor? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it's like, it doesn't work that way because they don't care. Yeah. What do they gain by sponsoring somebody who's not producing? Yeah, who's not going to do much, even if it's like even if it's as simple as talking to other people, which they don't do either.
Yeah.
Like results are what count as well.
And that's what's great about you guys and AGE specifically from what I've seen is that, you guys really are based on results. None of you guys are, I would say, media giants. None of you guys go out and go on YouTube and are like, hey, I'm ChrisG, look at me. None of you guys really do that. You guys really go out there for results and let your game do the talking. And you're right, people don't seem to understand that when you're on that grind, you wouldn't be where you were if you didn't put in the time or the effort. And when you're paying out of pocket, you're going to try even harder because otherwise, why are you playing? And, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's kind of like the old taboo skating days, when skateboarding was all about getting a sponsor as well and trying to, and that's just how it is everybody's chasing the money and chasing what they think is an easy buck. And I can guarantee from all of you guys, the money is probably okay, but you're doing what you love, so that makes it okay. Yeah. But I'm sure there are people making more money than you guys, and not having to travel as much as you guys. You guys really do it for the results and obviously for the intangible, the community, and that's what is really important. That's what we're going to keep driving, and it's good that you guys reinforce that and show that.
Yeah. It's funny you said a lot of people, that goes back to what I was talking about wanting the win, and I feel like a lot of people, Clockwork said this to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. Is that a lot of people feel like they can will a win, like I'm just going to go to the tournament, I'm going to try my absolute hardest and focus on it, and that's going to get me this win.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. You are going to have to put in time.
Oh yeah.
Because there's another person that's going to try as hard as you are and is going to be as dedicated. That's going to think about it as hard and focus as hard as you are, but it's put in way more time than you.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you're not going to be able to will it over him.
Exactly.
So it's really what you put into it. There will be sacrifice.
Yeah. Time, money.
And money, yeah. Traveling sometimes and not
and sometimes
going
just
to your local scene.
And sometimes just not working.
My goodness, local scene is bad. There are people in Miami that just don't go to their local scene.
Yeah.
Why?
There's people here that I've never met before that are here for their first major, and they're like, "Oh, what's up?" And I'm like, "Why don't you play at home?" And they're like,
I'm not going out. Because, the thing is that, a lot of us started with nothing, right? So, when we're at home, we don't have the money. I know a lot of people here, they do think about the money.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, why should I go to that event? I don't have the money. Or, if I go to that event, I can't eat food and stuff like that. I meet those people all the time. It's sometimes you need to get to the means before you get there. If I lose a tournament and I don't have any money, obviously I can't go to the next tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
It's some people are just getting desperate now. Mm-hmm. So it's I've met people who's yo, if I don't make top 3, man, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm why is that even a question? Why are you even thinking about that? Because if you can't get to the next event, that means that you are doing something wrong.
Exactly.
You should always have some type of backup. I know I may not have had that backup, because I started with, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I was completely broke, and I decided that I maybe, take this entire, aspect of gaming, give everything into it. I worked for a little bit, I brought myself to the majors, and if I would have failed, I would have known that I tried, but at the same time, I'm trying to be realistic with myself. People are not realistic. I don't want to blow anybody up, but again, people are doing this for the wrong reasons.
People need to get their life in order.
Yes,
before
I
they
know
do
people.
this.
I know people in their 30s, and they're I want to be like you, and I'm I'm only 22 though. And I know what it means to grind. You don't want to get a job.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not grinding.
Exactly.
You're just trying to, try to hook me up with a sponsor. You can't do that.
Yeah, and they're just pipe trimming. Well, I gotta wrap this up, guys. We're just losing film. Okay. Good.
We actually have to go anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. That's great. I'm just gonna do this last bit in audio. So just thank you guys. I appreciate all the interview and everything like that. It's gonna really help us out. Is there anything you guys want to say before we end it here?
Go swag.
Shout outs to PDP.
There you go.
And promo code AG ChrisG.
Gotcha. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
AG
for sure.
flat. FLA.
Seriously, thank
Thanks
you, man.
for sure.
Appreciate
Definitely,
it.
man.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, we'll
absolutely.
still be here for a little while.
All right.
Seriously, man, hit the Twitter, retweet at least one thing we say, and we'll blow up. just one thing, and we'll blow up. Man.
We'll all do it, I promise you.
Appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you.